All right, so we're getting ready to jump into a deep dive on prepping for an election agent interview.
Yeah.
And we're using RoleCatcher's guides to kind of help us navigate all this.
It's a role that I think is often misunderstood.
Yeah.
People think campaign, they think, sort of the flash and the excitement, but there's a lot more to
And
it.
so much more.
There's a lot more.
Yeah.
And RoleCatcher, they've got their career and interview guides. We're going to look at those.
Right.
Plus, we've got a little inside scoop on their AI tools, which we'll talk about as we get into it. But I think for anyone listening who maybe just pictures, someone handing out flyers, making phone calls when they think of a campaign.
Right.
Let's paint a clearer picture. Like, what exactly, according to RoleCatcher, does an election agent do?
They are really the strategic minds behind the entire campaign.
Okay.
They're responsible for everything.
Wow.
From crafting the campaign message to making sure the election runs smoothly.
And legally, which is, a huge part of it. So everything from, really shaping the public image of the candidate to the nitty-gritty of election day operations, making sure that everything is by the book.
And RoleCatcher really emphasizes the financial compliance piece of this.
Huge.
Which I think is something that people might not necessarily associate with that role. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Managing budgets, tracking expenses.
Yeah.
Making sure that everything adheres to all the campaign finance laws.
Oh, man.
It's a really, really important responsibility.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. And something that, even demonstrating just basic financial management experience, I think in the interview could really set you apart.
So it's not just like the rah-rah, getting people excited. It's like literally you're handling
the nuts and bolts.
The nuts and bolts of the campaign. Okay, so no pressure.
Right, exactly. And I think as we dive into these interview questions, keep in mind that, what really shines through is a candidate who really demonstrates a genuine understanding of all these different facets of the role.
It's not just one thing.
Not just one thing.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's jump into those questions because RoleCatcher, they highlight 10 common ones that you're likely to encounter
right
in an election agent interview. So
yeah,
let's break them down strategically one by one.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one, what inspired you to pursue a career as an election agent?
It's a classic opener.
It is, yeah.
But don't underestimate it, I think.
Okay.
They're really trying to gauge your passion, your motivation. Are you genuinely interested in this? Or are you just looking for any job in politics?
Right. So just saying, I love politics.
Probably too generic.
Too generic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, and RoleCatcher emphasizes this, showcasing that hands-on experience. Think about a time when you really got involved, even at a local level.
Okay.
Did you volunteer on a campaign? Did you participate in a debate? Did you organize, a community event around a political issue that you really care about?
Okay.
That shows genuine commitment.
Yeah.
Not just passive interest.
So it's like showing, not just telling.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Now, what about, I'm just curious, like in terms of follow-up questions. Because I feel like they might say, well, what about this role excites you the most?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that...
What are you looking forward to? What are you drawn to?
Exactly.
I think that's where you can tie your passions to the very specific responsibilities of an election agent.
Right.
So maybe you're fascinated by the strategic thinking behind crafting that campaign message. Or, maybe you are really drawn to the legal complexities of campaign finance, right? But be specific.
Yeah.
Show that you've done your research and you're not just sort of throwing out generic answers.
Cool. All right, question number 2. How do you stay up to date with election laws and regulations?
Big one.
Yeah, and that feels like a big one, especially because, things are always changing. Laws are always being tweaked.
Absolutely, yeah. They're really assessing, I think, your proactive approach to staying informed. Okay. So instead of just saying, oh, I read articles, mention specific resources. The American Association of Political Consultants. Okay. Legal journals. Things like Election Law Journal and bonus points, I think, if you can mention a recent court ruling that really impacted, either campaign finance or election procedures, so really going beyond just
So it's like really showing a deeper level.
Deeper level of engagement.
Of engagement.
Than just, oh yeah, I read the paper.
Exactly.
And I watched the news. Exactly.
Okay, cool. And I'm just thinking here about, how RoleCatcher's AI tools can help with something like this, because we've got all these different resources, but how do you even know where to start?
Well, and that's the beauty of AI is that, it can actually analyze these job descriptions.
Oh, okay.
And pinpoint the specific legal expertise they're seeking.
Okay,
So let's say, for example, the job posting mentions experience with, campaign finance reporting.
Right.
RoleCatcher's AI can actually suggest relevant coursework or training programs.
Wow, okay.
That you could then highlight in your answer to demonstrate that very specific knowledge.
So it's not even just like, having the knowledge, but it's like, okay, how do I tailor my response to this specific job?
It's about using the tools.
Wow.
Strategically to really present yourself as the ideal candidate.
Okay, that's really, really smart.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to question number 3. Can you describe your experience managing a team of election officials? So now we're getting into the weeds of like the leadership.
The leadership.
Yeah. Okay. This is where your leadership style really comes into play.
Okay.
They want to see how you motivate, how you delegate, how you resolve conflicts within a team.
Okay.
And I think, instead of just listing past roles you've held, pick a specific example.
Okay.
Where you faced a real challenge and how you successfully navigated it.
So, okay, if I had to manage, let's say, a team of, volunteers who maybe had like very different personalities, they weren't necessarily gelling, and I was, running a get out the vote drive.
Right, right.
I could talk about how I, facilitated communication, made sure everyone felt heard and valued.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to get granular with that, right?
Yep. So did you implement a specific communication strategy? Did you, create a system for assigning tasks based on people's strengths and weaknesses? I think those details really paint that vivid picture.
Oh, that's good.
Of your leadership approach.
Okay. And I'm just thinking, in terms of follow-up questions here, what if they say, okay, well, what's your approach to delegating tasks effectively?
Right. So that's a great opportunity to, showcase your understanding of team dynamics, right?
Okay.
So you could mention, for example, using tools like project management software or communication platforms to keep everyone on track.
Okay.
Highlight your ability to assess individual skills and delegate accordingly to really maximize efficiency.
Okay.
Right.
I'm starting to feel more confident already. This is helping, like, think strategically.
That's the goal.
About each question. All right,
yeah.
Let's do number 4.
Okay, yeah. And remember, as we go through this, just a reminder about, RoleCatcher's AI tools can actually provide personalized feedback on your answers.
Oh, really?
Which I think is so valuable because it can help you refine your delivery and ensure that your message is really resonating. Imagine you can practice your answers.
Wow.
And get real-time feedback on your tone, your pacing, your content.
That's incredible.
It's like having a personal interview coach.
It's like a little AI coach.
Yeah. In your pocket.
Right, in your pocket. Okay, cool. All right. So what is question number 4?
Okay, so question number 4 is, how do you ensure that elections are conducted fairly and transparently?
Oh, wow. Okay, so this feels like we're getting to the heart of the democratic process here.
We are, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a big one. They're really trying to assess your understanding of ethical practices.
Okay.
And your commitment to upholding the integrity of the whole process.
Got it.
Think about specific strategies you've used or would use to ensure fairness. So, for example,
So, like, implementing strict security protocols for handling ballots.
Perfect. Yeah.
Establishing clear guidelines for voter registration.
Making sure there's transparency in campaign financing.
All great examples.
Okay.
You could also mention, strategies for promoting voter education, for example, and combating misinformation.
Right.
Right. Because that's a big part of it, is making sure that voters are making informed decisions.
And that gets into, I think, maybe a potential follow-up here, which is, what steps would you take to address allegations of voter fraud or irregularities?
Right. And that's where you demonstrate your problem-solving skills.
Okay.
And your commitment to impartiality.
Right.
So you could discuss, for example, establishing a very clear protocol for investigating these allegations, involving independent observers, communicating transparently with the public throughout the process.
So it's about building that trust.
Building trust.
Yeah.
Public confidence.
Public confidence in the process.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And just thinking about, again, like, RoleCatcher's Career Guide emphasizes the importance of building a portfolio.
Yes, absolutely.
That showcases your commitment to these values. So
if you've worked on projects that have successfully implemented,
yeah,
fairness and transparency measures,
yeah,
definitely highlight those.
Absolutely. All right. So we're back and we're digging deeper into these election agent interview questions with RoleCatcher. It's our guide. We left off on question 4, so now we're on to question 5.
Question 5.
Can you describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision related to an election?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and I think this is where they're really assessing your judgment, your ability to weigh those competing priorities, and really make those tough calls under pressure.
So it's not about picking like an easy decision where everyone agreed. It's got to be something.
The stakes.
Yeah, with stakes and maybe even like ethical considerations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about a situation where you had to balance, for example, the needs of the campaign with legal requirements, or maybe a time when you had to make a call that could potentially alienate certain voters.
Ooh.
Right. So really think about...
Okay, so let's say I was working on a campaign and we discovered a potential violation of campaign finance rules.
Okay.
And we know that reporting it could hurt our candidate's chances.
Yeah.
But ignoring it would be like completely unethical.
Right.
That's tough.
That's a perfect example.
Okay.
Walk them through your thought process.
Okay.
How did you assess the situation? What factors did you consider? And most importantly, what was the outcome?
Okay.
And what did you learn from that whole experience?
So it's not just about the decision.
Right.
It's about showing your ability to really think critically.
To think it through.
Yeah, think it through and act ethically even when
the pressure's on.
The pressure's on. Yeah, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
What about follow-up questions here? So what if they say, okay, well, how do you handle pressure and make decisions when things are moving really fast?
I think that's a great opportunity to showcase, your coping mechanisms. So maybe you have a system for prioritizing tasks, or perhaps you really rely on data and analytics to inform your decisions, but highlight your ability to stay calm, to think clearly, and to really act decisively, even when things get hectic.
Oh, man, that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, question number 6. How do you prioritize and manage your workload during the election season? Ooh, that feels really relevant, just given the crazy pace of all of this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a 247 job, right? They want to see your organizational skills and your ability to really handle multiple responsibilities.
At the same time.
Yeah. Think about a time when you were juggling multiple projects, meeting deadlines, and just staying on top of everything.
So I could talk about, for example, how I use project management tools to track progress, delegate tasks effectively, or maybe even implement a system for, prioritizing based on urgency and impact.
Perfect examples.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, remember how RoleCatcher's AI can really analyze those specific job requirements?
Okay.
And suggest ways to really tailor that response.
Okay.
So let's say the job description emphasizes experience with managing large-scale events.
Right.
RoleCatcher's AI might suggest highlighting your experience coordinating a campaign rally or a major fundraising event as evidence of your workload management skills.
So it's about connecting those experiences.
Connecting the dots.
Yeah, connecting the dots to the demands of that specific role.
Exactly.
I'm seeing a pattern here. The AI is like all about
strategy.
Yeah, the strategy, like helping you be
tailored and relevant.
Yeah. Okay.
In your answer.
That's good. All right. So you're using the technology to your advantage.
Question number 7. How do you build and maintain positive relationships with candidates, voters, and stakeholders during an election? All right, so this is all about those people skills, right?
Absolutely. This is huge.
Yeah, it's about demonstrating your ability to communicate effectively, to build rapport, and to navigate, those different personalities, especially in that high-pressure environment.
High pressure, high stakes.
High stakes.
Yeah.
So think about a time, for example, when you had to work with a really difficult volunteer or maybe a skeptical community leader. Use those active listening skills to really understand their concerns and find that common ground to build that more collaborative relationship.
So it's like if I'm working with someone and they're not on board, they're not buying what we're selling.
Right.
I can talk about how I used, those active listening skills. I really understood where they were coming from.
Yeah.
And then, try to find some common ground.
Common ground.
Yeah, to build a better relationship.
Yeah, move forward. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
That's a great example.
What about follow-ups here? So they might say, okay, well, how do you handle disagreements or conflicts within a campaign team?
Right. I mean, that's inevitable, right? There's always going to be conflict.
Yeah.
So that's your chance to showcase your conflict resolution skills.
Okay.
So you can mention, for example, using techniques like mediation
Okay.
or facilitated dialogue to address those disagreements constructively.
Yeah.
And find solutions that work for everyone.
So it's like you're being the peacemaker.
The peacemaker.
The team player,
yeah.
Even when things are,
heated. Heated, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
And going back to RoleCatcher's career guide, it really emphasizes the importance of networking and building relationships within that whole political sphere.
Right.
So highlighting any experience you have working with diverse stakeholders, whether it's community organizations or political action committees or even, rival campaigns, that can all be really, really beneficial.
So it's about showing that you can play nice with others.
You can play nice.
Even if...
Even if you disagree?
Yeah, even if you disagree.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But that you can navigate that complex web of relationships that are so essential to successful campaigning.
Okay, cool. All right, so we are moving on to question number 8, and this is about crisis management.
Crisis management. Ooh, yes.
All right.
Question 8. Can you describe a time when you had to handle a crisis during an election? And this really puts your ability to think on your feet to the test.
Crisis management during an election. That sounds intense.
It can be.
Yeah.
Imagine, a scenario where a major scandal breaks or a natural disaster disrupts campaign finance or, a critical piece of technology fails right before a crucial rally.
Oh, man.
So they want to see how you handle that pressure and how you adapt to those unexpected challenges.
So if I'm working on a campaign and all of a sudden, there's this damaging news story that breaks about our candidate, I could talk about how I quickly assess the situation, develop a communication strategy, and really try to, mitigate the damage, basically.
Exactly. Walk them through your decision-making process.
Okay.
How did you gather information? Who did you consult with? What specific actions did you take? The more detail you can provide, the better they can assess your ability to lead.
Under pressure.
Under pressure.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
What about follow-up questions here? What if they ask, how do you manage negative media attention or just, public criticism?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, that's part and parcel of the job, right?
Yeah.
So that's your opportunity to showcase your understanding of media relations and crisis communication.
Got it.
So you can mention, for example, building relationships with journalists, developing those key messages, and using social media effectively to really control the narrative.
So it's not just about reacting to a crisis. It's like...
being proactive.
Yeah, being proactive, getting out ahead of it.
Managing that flow of information.
Yeah.
Shaping public perception.
Shaping public perception. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI tools can provide that personalized feedback.
Oh, yeah.
On your answers, helping you refine that delivery and ensuring that your message is really resonating.
Right.
Imagine practicing that crisis management scenario.
Okay.
And getting real-time feedback on your tone, your pacing, and that content.
It's like you've got this virtual crisis communications expert.
Yeah, exactly.
Just by your side.
There to support you.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Guiding you through it.
All right, let's tackle question number 9.
Question 9. Okay, here we go.
This is all about inclusivity. How do you ensure that the election process is inclusive and accessible to all voters?
A very, very important one, especially in today's political climate.
Yeah.
Where we see so many voter suppression tactics being used.
So they're really assessing here your understanding of the barriers that some voters face.
And barriers, yeah.
Yeah, particularly from, marginalized communities and just, are you committed to removing those barriers?
Exactly.
And making sure everyone...
Equal access, yeah.
Yeah. To the ballot box.
To the ballot box, that's key.
Okay.
So you can talk about your experience implementing voter registration drives in underserved communities, translating campaign materials into multiple languages, or advocating for accessible polling places for people with disabilities.
So you're showing that you're not just talking the talk, you're actually...
walking the walk.
Yeah, walking the walk.
Showing that tangible understanding of the challenges and a commitment to finding solutions.
Finding solutions, okay.
Yeah.
What about follow-up questions here? They might ask, how would you address concerns about voter intimidation or disenfranchisement.
Right. And this is where you really showcase your knowledge of election laws.
Okay.
And your commitment to protecting those voting rights. So you can mention, for example, working with election officials to train poll workers on how to prevent intimidation, establishing very clear reporting mechanisms for these incidents, and collaborating with community organizations to really educate voters on their rights.
So it's like a multi-pronged approach.
Well, multi-pronged approach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Combining legal expertise
with community engagement.
Community engagement.
Okay.
To make sure it's a fair and accessible election for everyone.
So it's not just about winning the election, it's about
the process.
Strengthening the process itself.
Yeah, the integrity of the whole system.
Okay, that's good. All right. So
one final question.
One final question.
One final question to tackle.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, number 10. Can you describe a time when you had to work with a difficult stakeholder or official?
Ooh, okay, so this one feels like they're really trying to see
your diplomacy.
Yeah.
Your negotiation skills.
Because politics is a pretty adversarial field.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so
they want to see that you can navigate those challenging relationships,
Mm-hmm.
find that common ground, and build consensus, even with individuals who may not share your views or your priorities.
So if I had to, for example, negotiate with a skeptical city council member to secure a permit for an event, or maybe I had to work with a community group that was completely opposed to our candidate's stance on a particular issue.
Perfect examples.
Yeah.
Focus on the strategies you use to build that rapport, to really listen to their concerns, and to find solutions that addressed everyone's needs.
Everyone's needs. Okay.
Yeah.
What about follow-up questions? So what if they ask, okay, well, what do you do if you can't reach an agreement?
Right, and that happens, right.
Yeah.
I think that's a chance to showcase your ability to maintain professionalism and respect.
Okay.
Even in those really, really challenging situations.
Right.
You could mention, seeking guidance from senior campaign officials, exploring alternative solutions, or focusing on those areas of agreement while acknowledging those differences.
So it's almost like a compromise.
It is a compromise.
Yeah. It's about saying, okay, well, we can't agree on everything, but
we can.
But we can at least agree on this. So let's
move forward.
Let's move forward.
Yeah. It's about demonstrating that commitment to collaboration.
Yeah.
And your ability to navigate
the
complexity of the political world.
The political world. Oh, man.
Okay. And one more thing I wanted to mention about that is that RoleCatcher's AI tools can really help you tailor your response to the specific stakeholders mentioned in the job description.
Right.
So, for example, if the job involves working with labor unions, the AI might suggest highlighting your experience collaborating with union representatives on past campaigns or projects.
So it's like it does research for you.
It's like a research assistant.
It's like a research assistant.
Right in your pocket.
That's incredible. Wow. Okay, so we've covered 10 challenging questions.
10 questions.
Explored potential follow-ups.
The follow-ups, yep.
And learned how RoleCatcher's AI tools can help us prepare.
Strategically,
yeah.
Get ready for that interview.
I'm feeling a lot more confident.
Good.
So we've spent a lot of time really getting into those nitty-gritty questions.
Yeah, those tough questions.
The tough questions, yeah.
The ones that make you sweat a little bit.
Exactly. And we talked about how RoleCatcher's AI tools can really help with that prep. But I want to kind of zoom out now.
Yeah.
And look at the bigger picture. Because RoleCatcher, in their career guide especially, they talk a lot about how technology is changing the game when it comes to politics.
It's not even just changing the game. I think it's rewriting the rule book.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a seismic shift.
Okay.
And election agents are right at the epicenter of that.
So I'm trying to picture like 5 years from now. Let's say, I've aced the interview. I've got the job.
You're running campaigns.
I'm running campaigns.
Yeah.
What does that world even look like?
I think, you're talking about hyper-personalized messaging. You're talking about AI-powered voter outreach.
Wow.
You're talking about campaigns that are being run, almost entirely on data analysis.
Okay.
It's exciting, but also a bit daunting.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared for it.
So RoleCatcher mentions data.
Right.
A lot.
Being crucial.
Yeah, being crucial. So what does a data-savvy election agent even, what do they actually need to DO?
I think it's more than just understanding spreadsheets.
Right.
You're going to have to interpret those complex data sets, identify trends, and extract those actionable insights.
Right.
Think about using data visualization tools to present those findings to the campaign team.
Okay.
Really crafting strategies based on those insights.
So it's not just like, going with your gut anymore.
Right.
It's about backing up every decision.
The data's got to support it.
Yeah, with the data, okay.
Yeah.
What kind of skills, like if I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, okay, this is the future, what do I need to develop now?
Well, I think, definitely brush up on data analysis software.
Okay.
Maybe even take some courses on, data visualization and interpretation.
Okay.
Understanding things like A/B testing, statistical significance, those will be invaluable.
Okay.
Yeah.
And RoleCatcher talks about AI being this game changer.
Right.
But beyond, the tools that we talked about.
Right.
For interview prep.
Yeah.
How's it actually going to impact, like, the day-to-day work?
I think, imagine using AI to analyze social media sentiment.
Okay.
To predict voter turnout in specific districts.
Wow.
Or even to personalize campaign messages.
Okay.
Based on individual voter profile.
That is next level.
It is next level.
Yeah. Yeah. But doesn't that, that also raises all these, ethical questions?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Data privacy, algorithmic bias, the potential for manipulation, these are all huge issues that future election agents are going to have to really grapple with. And I think demonstrating an awareness of these ethical considerations during your interview shows that you're not just, tech savvy, but also really thoughtful about the implications.
So it's not just about being this tech genius. It's about being
responsible.
Yeah, responsible.
An ethical leader.
An ethical leader.
Yeah.
In a world where, tech is really kind of driving a lot of things.
The future of politics isn't just about who has the most data.
Right.
It's about who uses it wisely, ethically, and effectively.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive, what's the one thing you'd want our listener to really take away?
I think, don't just prepare for the interview.
Oh, yeah.
Prepare for the future.
I like that.
Show them that you're not just knowledgeable about the role as it exists today. You're ready to adapt, you're ready to learn, and you're ready to lead in a world that's being really rapidly reshaped by all this technology.
That's awesome. I'm feeling inspired. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. This has been really, really helpful.
My pleasure. It's been a great conversation.
To our listeners, best of luck with your election agent interview. And remember, the future of politics is in your hands. Until next time, keep diving deep,